Welcome back. You're still watching Markets at Noon and a very interesting conversation on the consumption story. Well, the GST cut is planning to spark $13 billion consumption boost where a double bonanza for the consumption space and GST cuts plus income tax relief. There is a detailed note created by Red Seer on this, and joining on the same with us is Nikhil Dalal, Associate Partner, Red Seer. Nikhil, thank you so much for joining with us and giving your time to ET Now. Mansi Dave this side. Now, Red Seer has closely tracked consumer sentiments as we see. How, according to you, significant it is a $13 billion consumption boost in the current macro context, considering all that's happening and the festival demand also, which will be weighing in the coming days?
Yeah, thanks, Vansi. So, at least as we look more in terms of online side of the world, so the festive boost has been clearly evident because of the recent GST reforms. So, the festive which has started on e-commerce on 22nd, which was on Monday this year, we have clearly seen a very healthy double-digit growth of more than 20% on a year-on-year basis on the sale that we are seeing. Primarily, if you see TVs, refrigerators, washing machines, these are the products which have seen a clear positive uptick because of the GST reforms that have come into play. And they have seen a very healthy more than 20% growth, at least on the online ecosystem that is sort of concerned. So I think that is one. Second, we're also able to see that this impact is clearly evident for the tier 2 plus users in India who have seen a very significant impact of this GST drop for at least the large appliances as well as the fashion category, where you would see that for the less than 2,500 rupee products, we are clearly seeing that there is an uptick in terms of the consumption in the tier 2 plus markets. So these two things are clearly very, very evident in the online world of e-commerce, and that's setting a very, very positive side of thing as far as the GST reforms are concerned.
Hi Nikhil, this is Ankita also joining in. Nikhil, the sales, as I can see, has surged almost 23 to 25% on a year-on-year basis just in the first 2 days of Navratri. But is this demand likely to sustain over for the year? Because this is the period where consumption is likely to see a jump up in any case. Is this demand likely to sustain? And because urban consumption has been a pain point, it has been rather sluggish for a while now.
Yeah, so we are able to see that this demand would likely sustain. In fact, for the festive season, as we're already seeing about 25% growth in the first 2 days, that has continued for the next 2 days as well. So it's still a healthy more than 20% growth that we're seeing. During Diwali and post Diwali as well, we believe that with the GST cut that has already taken place, the real wages are rising a bit. And the consumer sentiment being overall on a positive side. So people would still continue to spend on categories like fashion, home, electronics, and more spend will sort of come from the tier 2 plus users as a contribution for that. So we still believe that at the end of this year, which is by December this year, the growth would still be about 20% plus for e-commerce, and hence we are still bullish on that.
Let's now talk about the middle class and the mass affordability. Now, with income tax relief which is provided and the GST rate rationalization, the GST cut, how do you expect middle class or middle income households to respond in terms of their discretionary spending? And also, will this Bachat Utsav have a more urban impact or the rural impact, according to you, in terms of the demand?
Yeah, so I think the impact is clearly visible on two fronts. So if you talk about the metro and the tier 1 users, you would clearly see that the spend has continued to increase on the higher priced products, which is TVs, smartphones, etc. So there we are clearly seeing a positive impact. But if you talk about the middle households, again, coming from tier 1 and tier 2 households in India, they have become very bullish in terms of spending on let's say TV as a category, fashion with about 1,000 to 1,500 rupee products, that there is a demand where we are clearly seeing a positive uptick. Also from the products like home appliances and home furniture, that is also where we are seeing users are quite bullish in terms of spending primarily due to the GST cut that has happened. In fact, from a pricing angle, you could clearly see that there is already a 8 to 10% saving that we're able to see across the products, and that is where the middle class user or mass users in India are still seeing a positive impact on this in terms of the spend that they would do.
Can you also give us some color on the categories that are seeing the highest, demand momentum, and also the fact that give us some insight into how the festival discounts are also going to pan out, because the GST rate rationalization has already come through. The rates have already been rationalized. Do you think that will impact the discounting as well?
Yeah, so to answer your first question, by the categories, so the first 2 days were driven more by smartphones and televisions. That is where we have seen a bulk of the demand sort of come in. And as we get along the festive, you would see that the growth will start to come from fashion and lifestyle products. Second, more from the beauty side, as we see more and more occasions sort of coming in near to the Diwali time period. So these are the categories which will see an uptick. But the first 2 to 3 days have been driven by smartphones and television as a category in terms of the growth. Secondly, from a discounting angle, I think one impact was already visible in terms of the 8 to 10% drop in the prices because of the GSTs. Second, we are seeing a very healthy discount. So you would see for smartphones, the discounts have gotten to as high as 50% in the first 2 to 3 days of the sale. Right, and that is a big impact in terms of the uptick that you see in the unit sales of the smartphones. And this is visible again for both the world. So the first world, as you would say, is the world where they're okay to spend more than 50,000 for maybe a smartphone or premium brands in televisions or refrigerators. And there is a demand that we're clearly seeing in the less than 20,000 inch products as well in smartphones as well as large appliances. So I think overall, the discounts have been more than 30 to 40%, and in certain categories, about 50% already in the first 3 to 4 days of the sale that we have seen. And that is, in fact, driving the growth across India in this e-commerce festive season.
All right, Nikhil, thank you so much for all of those views. And we hope that the festival demand pans out just like the way we are anticipating, and the consumers get whatever they are watchful and hopeful for. Thanks a lot for giving your time. Have a nice day to you.